This is my video update from St. Petersburg, Russia, on this Sunday early evening, July 30th. Let's talk about some news from St. Petersburg, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And even though I believe it's 7:30 right now, we still have a lot of daylight and a lot of good natural light to film a video. That's what it's like here in the summers. We have a lot of daylight. So let's talk about what happened yesterday with various multiple drone strikes. We had the Ukraine military launch 25 drones towards Crimea, and all those drones were repelled by the Russian military. And then we had drones targeting Moscow, and it looks like the Russian military, they repelled the drones, but the drones went off target, and they ended up landing in Moscow City very late in the evening yesterday. Luckily, there were, at least the last reports I read, there were no casualties, just damage to various office buildings in this area of Moscow, which is a business center. It is a business hub. So if these drones landed in the daytime, if they were launched in the daytime and they landed in Moscow City when people were at work, then you could be looking at a pretty big disaster. But right now, it looks like all we have is damage to the buildings in Moscow City, to the office buildings that are located there. And we're going to see what Russia's response is to these drones that were targeting Crimea. And Russia, remember, the Ministry of Defense, they issued a statement about a month and a half ago, and they said that when the Ukraine military launches strikes on Russian territory, they are going to retaliate and they're going to take out decision-making centers. So we're going to wait and see what the Russian response is to this latest drone attack towards Crimea and towards Moscow. And, the Ukraine military, as they continue to falter on the front lines in their big counter-offensive, which is now a counter-offensive reboot. That's what the Western mainstream media is calling it, a reboot of the counter-offensive. As they continue to falter there, the tactics are switching more towards pinprick terrorist strikes in Russian territory, on Russian territory, mostly towards Crimea, but they're also trying to sneak drones by Russian air defense towards Moscow as well. All of this is being done not to give the Zelensky regime some sort of victory on the battlefield, but to create some sort of panic and fear in Russia. It's just going to do the opposites. These types of drone attacks are just going to harden the Russian position in this conflict. And you even had CNN. They came out with a report the other day, and they were talking up the drones that Ukraine was using to hit the Crimean bridge. And CNN reported that the Zelensky regime and the Ukraine military, they gave CNN access to a hidden location that Ukraine uses to develop the drones and then to launch these drones via boat to hit the Crimean bridge. So CNN was talking up how the military in Ukraine is operating secret locations with boat drone tech to target Russian positions in Crimea. So that's the latest update connected to the drone strikes. Let me by here, and we'll continue talking about the next news topic, which is the peace summit, the Ukraine peace summit that is going to take place in Saudi Arabia, sponsored by the United States of America and Jake Sullivan, and possibly Victoria Nuland, but Jake Sullivan's definitely going to be there. So the word is that the USA, they are going to be sponsoring a Ukraine-Russia peace summit. And they have invited the European Union, the UK, the Collective West, and 30 other countries of the Global South, which have not placed sanctions on Russia. They have invited them to this peace summit, which will take place in Saudi Arabia. And the goals of this peace summit is to approve Ukraine's peace deal with this conflict with Russia. That is the goal of this peace summit. So Ukraine, they have this peace deal that they've been trying to gain traction for over the last, say, 9 months, and no one takes this peace plan, this peace deal that Ukraine has floated out there seriously. Most of all, Russia doesn't take it seriously, because the peace deal says stuff like back to 1991 borders, and Russian President Putin has to resign, and Crimea becomes part of Ukraine. So that's the peace deal that Ukraine is trying to push forward, and that is what is going to be on the table during this summit taking place in Saudi Arabia. And the interesting part about this story is that one of the countries involved in this conflict, a major party involved in this conflict, NATO's proxy Ukraine, and Russia is not invited to this peace summit, and that is Russia. So they're going to have a peace summit in Saudi Arabia, and Russia is not going to be invited. So I wonder how this peace summit is going to turn out. Obviously, this is not going to be a summit for peace. This is going to be a get-together where Jake Sullivan and possibly Blinken, possibly Nuland, they invite a bunch of countries from the Collective South. I've heard that South Africa is saying that they might attend. Brazil said that they might attend. Saudi Arabia obviously is going to be there since they're hosting the event. And they're going to invite these countries to Saudi Arabia, and they're going to basically try to strong-arm them, or maybe even bribe them, so that they can go against Russia, place sanctions on Russia. So that's the purpose of this summit. It has nothing to do with finding a solution to the conflict in Ukraine. So that is the news from Saudi Arabia. Let's have a summit for peace, the USA is saying. Let's try to find a solution to the conflict in Ukraine, and let's not invite Russia to this peace summit. It's going to be a very fair and very equitable peace solution, right? And of course, all the countries that are going to show up, they know what this is about. They know that the U.S. is going to bring a carrot and a stick to this summit. They'll try to bribe these countries with a carrot, and then they're going to try to use the stick to try and threaten these countries so that they can go along with the sanctioning of Russia. So yeah, that's the Saudi Arabia peace initiative there. And Putin, he spoke yesterday to journalists following the Russia-Africa summit. And he said some very interesting things. And the Russia-Africa summit actually took place here in St. Petersburg. And Putin took some questions from the media. And did I say that today is Navy Day here in St. Petersburg? And Putin was actually at the Navy Day event. I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning of my video. Anyway, I'll mention it again if I did mention it. But Putin took some questions about the conflict in Ukraine. And he talked about NATO. And he said that Russia is ready to fight the US, to fight NATO, though it does not want to. He said, I hope it does not come to this. That is what Putin said. I hope it doesn't come to an actual confrontation with the US and NATO, but he said that if it does come to that, it's not going to be Russia's fault, he said, and Russia is ready to deal with a conflict between with the US and NATO. But an even more interesting part to his statement about a conflict with the US and NATO is that Putin said that the tension, the escalation that is taking place between the two sides, yes, it is in Ukraine, but he said that an area where this can easily turn into a hot war between Russia and the West is actually Syria. He said that Syria is a region where Russia is constantly coming up against U.S. military resources, and this could easily spiral out of control and lead to some sort of a hot war. But he did also say that with regards to Syria, Russia has deconfliction lines in place with the U.S. and with NATO, and they're trying to avoid any type of escalation between the two sides in Syria. So that was an interesting comment from Putin's press conference. He also said that he's not very much involved in the military strategy. He mentioned that. He said he leaves the military strategy and the planning to the military experts. He also said that Ukraine is running out of conscripts. That was an interesting statement. And what else did he say? He also said that there's going to be more air defense systems, more protection put in place in and around the Crimean Kerch Bridge. So he said that as well. So beautiful St. Petersburg, huh? Amazing city. Let's now discuss a very interesting Financial Times article. And this FT article talks about how Ukraine has captured and is using missiles manufactured in North Korea. And it's very interesting timing, this Financial Times article. So this FT article is published right around the same time that Shoigu was in North Korea. And this article claims that the Ukraine military is firing missiles made in North Korea. And they interviewed soldiers on the front line who are firing these missiles. And the soldiers said that these missiles came from a seized boat carrying North Korean missiles, and this boat was seized by a friendly nation. And now they're using the missiles, and the soldiers actually said that they don't really care if the missiles are from North Korea. They're running out of ammo, and they're running out of missiles, and any missiles they can get, they said, is a good thing. So an admission that they are running out of ammunition from interviews with the Financial Times. But when the Financial Times interviewed the Ukraine Ministry of Defense, they said that these North Korean missiles were captured from the Russian side. I find this to be a very interesting statement because the timing of this is to coincide with Shoigu's visit to North Korea. We have a whole bunch of media reports claiming that North Korea is selling missiles to Russia because Russia's running out of missiles and weapons. We know that narrative. And now you have this Financial Times article coming out, and the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine is saying, we captured these missiles from the Russian side, which is proof that North Korea is indeed selling missiles to Russia or providing missiles to Russia. And I think that's where they're taking this. I think this story was a type of a plant in order to build the narrative that North Korea is providing missiles to Russia. And you see, the Ukraine military has actually captured some of these missiles from North Korea. So a very interesting story from the Financial Times. And from the Financial Times, I think we could talk a bit about sports, and we'll do a clown world. Very cool. And we'll wrap this video up from St. Petersburg. A beautiful day, a hot day actually, here in St. Petersburg. And we have two sports stories that I want to discuss. The first one has to deal with fencing. We had this incident that took place the other day at this fencing tournament, and it was a bout. Is that what you call it in fencing? Is it a bout, like a boxing match? A match between Ukraine and Russia. And I actually think that the Ukraine fencer actually won this match. But you have to. It's rules in the fencing federation that when the match concludes, you shake hands. And if you don't shake hands, according to the rules, then you're disqualified if you refuse to shake hands. And the Ukrainian fencer refused to shake the hand of the Russian fencer. And I believe she won the match, and she still refused to shake hands with the Russian fencer. She just kind of put her sword out in front of the Russian fencer, and that's all she was prepared to do, just kind of touch blades. And according to the rules, she was disqualified because those are the rules, right? And when the Olympic Committee got wind of this, the head of the Olympic Committee, they actually changed the rules for her. And they reinstated her, and they gave her a spot. We're talking about the Ukrainian fencer. They reinstated her after she was disqualified for not shaking hands. And the Olympic official, the Olympic Committee, they actually gave her a spot in the Olympics no matter what. No matter what happens, whether she qualifies, doesn't qualify, they're going to save a spot for her in the Olympics. So they changed the rules. They rewrote the rules. She was disqualified. They reinstated her, and they give her an automatic spot in the Olympics. How about that? How about that one? So yeah, I think we need a new type of an Olympic game, like a multipolar, a BRICS Olympics. I think that's what we need, because obviously the Olympics are controlled and run by the collective West. Because you know that when she was disqualified, the Ukrainian fencer, you know that the State Department, they called up the Olympic Committee and they said, you better change the rules and you better give her a spot on the Olympics. You don't just give her the gold medal, is what I say. Why even have a fencing event? Okay, you can have a fencing event at the Olympics for silver and bronze, but just give her the gold. And let's just be done with it. Actually, just give the Ukrainian athletes the gold on every event. How about that? And then everyone that's competing at the Olympic Games, they can compete for silver and bronze. Yeah. Why not? Anyway, so that's the first sporting event. And the second sporting event that I want to talk about is a figure skating event. And there was a Russian figure skater. Let me see if I can pull up her name here. And this Russian figure skater, last year she competed, actually a Lithuanian figure skater. And last year she competed in Russia. But I believe she's of Russian origin, but she's a Lithuanian athlete. Margarita Drobiazko. So she's Moscow born, but I think she's a Lithuanian citizen. Okay. And she competed in Russia last year. And now Lithuania, because she competed in Russia at a figure skating event, Lithuania is considering revoking her citizenship. Because she decided to compete at a figure skating event. She decided to compete at a figure skating event in Russia, and now she might lose her Lithuanian citizenship. Unbelievable stuff. So Giorgia Meloni, she visited Biden the other day, and this is like the pre-clown world, and then I'll get into my clown world. Even though this figure skating stuff and this fencing stuff could have easily been my clown world. Anyway, Giorgia Meloni, she visited Biden, and let me read you what the Associated Press had to say about Meloni and Biden. President Joe Biden on Thursday thanked far-right Premier Giorgia Meloni for Italy's steady backing of Ukraine, offering a warm welcome to the White House to a leader that his administration saw with some trepidation when she rose to power last year as the head of Italy's first far-right-led government since the end of World War II. The Biden administration's concerns about her ideology have been eased by her support for Ukraine and her seeming openness to pull back from Italy's participation in China's infrastructure building Belt and Road Initiative. Her visit came as Italy prepares to take up the presidency next year of the group of 7 industrialized nations. So Meloni was considered far right. She was considered problematic. The Biden White House was very concerned about Meloni. But all those concerns have since been eased because Meloni supports Ukraine. It's that simple. That's all it takes. That is all it takes. Let's walk down this way. Let's walk down this way. It's a little bit more quiet. So yeah, that's it. Support Ukraine, and it doesn't matter if you're far right, according to Meloni's ideology, if you're far right or far left or anything. It doesn't matter as long as you support Ukraine and you pull out of the One Belt, One Road, then everything is all right as far as the Biden White House is concerned. Oh boy. So let's do a clown world and we'll wrap it up. I think I'm actually walking towards, I think this is the Russian Museum of Art, is where I'm actually walking towards, which is an amazing museum, and I will take everybody there during this trip, that's for sure. But let's make it all the way to the fence, and one day we'll do a video from the museum. I think that's where we're heading. So the clown world, we're going to stick with Biden. Joe Bidenopoulos, Greece's favorite son. And Joe Biden, he recognized, what is it, his 5th grandchild or 6th grandchild or something like that. He recognized the granddaughter of Hunter's fling with the, I believe, an erotic dancer in Arkansas or something like that. I forgot the story, but Biden the other day, he said that he's going to take care of all of his grandchildren, including the Hunter Biden grandchild that he had with this girl, this lady in Arkansas, or I don't know. I think it's Arkansas or Alabama, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, Hunter Biden said in his book, in his memoir, that he got paid a whole ton of money to write. He said that he doesn't even remember like hooking up with this person. He's like, I was high on God knows what, and I don't even remember doing the deed with her. And he actually challenged the pregnancy and the fact that this was his daughter. And after a DNA test, it came back positive that Hunter was indeed the father. And I think this is Hunter's 5th child or something like that. Anyway, Biden recognized that this child is indeed a Biden, though I believe a court ruling said that she can't use the Biden name. I believe her first name is Navy Roberts, I think is her name, but she can't go by the name Biden, I think, according to the court. But that's not even the clown world. I haven't even got to the clown world. Yeah, I'm going to do a video from here. You're going to probably see this whole area again, because this is one of my most favorite areas. So the clown world to all of this, and I'm just going to read it to you. Let me just read it to you. In late June, Hunter Biden resolved a child support case with Roberts in which he was seeking to reduce monthly child support payments of $20,000. In the ruling made public by the Arkansas State Court, the new monthly amount Biden will pay has been redacted. The president's son also has 4 other children. As part of the ruling, Hunter Biden will also donate some of his personal artwork collection to his daughter, who will be entitled to either keep it or sell it at a later date. Biden had taken up painting as part of his recovery from addictions to alcohol and drugs. The court filing also states that Roberts will drop a proposal to change the child's last name to Biden. So that's the clown world. The clown world is that instead of paying cash for child support, Hunter Biden is going to be allowed to give Roberts, Navy Roberts, his daughter, and her mother from Arkansas, he's going to be allowed to just give them Hunter Biden paintings. Hunter Biden artwork in exchange for cash. And she could sell the artwork or she could keep the artwork, because we all know that the Hunter Biden artwork is going to appreciate in value, right? It's going to become like a Picasso or a Van Gogh. Oh, boy. Hunter Biden artwork has a lot of uses, I have to admit. It really does have a whole lot of uses. Do you want to get a job at the White House? Buy a Hunter painting. Do you want favors from the president? Buy a Hunter Biden painting. Do you need protection so that you can, I don't know, maybe get a prosecutor fired in Ukraine? Buy a Hunter Biden painting. Do you need to settle a court case or child support? Give a Hunter Biden painting. I have to admit, Hunter Biden artwork is like multi-purpose. It has a lot of uses, doesn't it? Oh boy. All right, everybody. That's the video. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Rockfin, and Telegram. Go to the Duran shop, use the code Good Day, get 10% off. Take care.